the crate can actually be used as a tool for training. Instead of just putting the dog in and out, since most dogs love their crate because dogs are naturally den animals, and I say that all the time, but it's true, and you do things in the crate that make them love the crate, like feed them in the crate. Every time you put them in, they go in, they turn around, give them a treat, close the door. Give them a treat, unhook their leash, or whatever you have to do, close the door. Every time you go in to get them, treat, hook them up on the leash, teaching to wait at the boundary so that you're controlling that boundary. If you develop that crate as a place where great things happen, bones, chewies, treats, they eat their meal in there, you put them in the crate, go get their food bowl, put it in there, close the door. They'll start loving to be in the crate even more than they do already. Okay. The way I recommend that you take him out is you go with the treat in your right hand, leash in your left. And it's a training exercise, and you're controlling the boundary in and out of his favorite place, his den. It's where good stuff happens. And you can really calm a dog down by doing this. See how I'm opening the door? If I was here, I might just switch this door around so it opens from this side. This way might be easier for you. Treats, see how he's waiting? Getting treats, hooking him up to the leash, and it's not taking much to have him wait. If he does try to come out before you allow him, you can just do a little, like a token slam like this, and say no if he tries to come out, but he's being really good already. And just say, okay, and he'll come out. It's almost like his owners have already been doing this. Always close this door, because if you leave it open and he can randomly go in and out, you squander your power of the crate, which is to control his access in and out of his favorite place. So if we're going to put him back in the crate, let's say I took him out, we did some stuff, and now it's time to go back in, lead him up to the crate, have him sit. Good, and since I never handled him before, I've only had him on a leash for 1 minute now, just met him. I'm using treats for the sit, but he obviously has practiced sit, so I'm making sure that he stays there. Go, send him back in the crate, and I think that maybe his owners have been doing this already. Good, he goes in there, turns around, good, I unhook him, and then I close the door. And if you take him in and out of the crate 3 or 4 times a day, that's 3 or 4 times where he has to sit and wait for your permission to go through a boundary, a very important boundary in his life. All these things that we're doing with the dogs, they're all set up in order to change the dog's perception of you. Because if you're controlling their little comings and goings in their daily life, they start to perceive you as the boss and not just an object to guard, or, somebody that's not serious and you say commands, over and over again, they ignore you. So part of this is doing everything on a leash, especially in the beginning. Reinforcing the first time you say, like I said, go. You could use the leash to push him in if he didn't go. Or okay, and you tap the leash to bring him out. You never want to repeat a command, so that when you're not using a leash later, the pattern is, all he knows is, since he can remember, he hears it once and he ends up doing it because of the way you taught him. So using this crate as a means for training, the crate routine, would help you in other areas as well. So I'm going to take him out again, and then we're going to go do some other stuff with him. Good. Gets a treat. Going to hook him up. Here, he's very relaxed for a 10-month-old puppy. He's waiting, which is great. Okay. He comes out. You close his door. And we're going to go do some other stuff. Another thing I want to mention is that whenever you step into the dog, it's a very dominant move, and the dog is always going to get out of your way. And if you have him on a leash, which you will, of course, if you're training, you want to stay away from this, tight leashes, any of that kind of stuff, because you'll create overstimulation, and if you choke up on a dog, a lot of times they back away and pull against it. But if you, tap. See how I tapped a couple times and he stopped pulling? I didn't just do this. Okay, if you tap and turn and use your body, always turn into him. It's kind of standard to have your dog on the left in the world of dog trainers for the most part. So he's on your left, so you're always going to turn left. And I can tell that this hasn't been done because he's not used to it, but it's a very dominant move. It's gentle but firm, and he's not used to it yet, but he'll perceive you differently if you start doing this. Even if I'm going to make a right turn, okay, I'm going to turn left so that I can go right. So you're always turning into the dog. If he lags behind, tap, tap, release, keep going. You can always draw him back to you as well, but always turn into him. Body language is really important. And the leash always stays loose when you step into him as well. Sit. We're going to launch right into this little exercise he's never done. Now you should probably go there. So he's sitting in front of his mat. This is my version of go to your place. Go to your place. We can say that, or go to your mat. You can say down. And he's a little bit afraid of this. So maybe he's not practiced down.
Oh yeah, he's good with it actually.
Okay. Down. He's afraid of the mat. Good. As soon as he hits the deck, he gets a reward. And when a dog is really skittish this way, I'm just looking for a little successes and then we're done for the day. So he goes down. Before he gets up, I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to turn into him. This is kind of a tight spot here, but it's right by the front door, a really good place to practice that. I'm doing 2 turns, sit. We're going to do it again. He's got to get used to going onto the mat. He's skittish about walking on this mat. And also it smells like other dogs as well, which probably doesn't help. Go. Lead him onto the mat. Down. Good. See how I got him on the mat a little farther? And let's see, now that he's down, let's see if I can lure him just to crawl onto the mat and be more of his body in the mat. Down. Good. Give him the big pile. So he's getting a good association with going on this new mat thing we have here. Okay, before he gets up, releasing him, come off. Step into him. Do my little turns here, always turning into him. Sit. Go to your mat, leading him over. See if I can get him all the way on the mat now. Good. Good. He's pretty much on the mat all the way. So you want to graduate to standing in front of him. Good. Being able to reward him. Make sure that you reward. You place it on the mat. He waits respectfully until you withdraw, just like he already is. And then you can start practicing a down. And it's all about the down. If he pops up before you release him, you say no. And we'll see how this works. I just am applying a tiny bit of pressure on the leash. Good, he went back, and as soon as he chose to go back, his elbows hit the mat, he gets rewarded. I need to be very careful with him because he used to be very skittish, I've been told, and I can tell he's way better than he was, but I still could easily spook him if I did too much. Good. See how I'm now stepping back farther to the end of the leash and back. Good. And of course, then you want to start walking around him. Like if I try to walk around him, nope, he can't handle that. Good. Just getting him back, I'm still using the treats. So with him, to practice his stay, which is where he accepts you walking around both ways, that's just a basic thing, but he doesn't have that yet, so I would start there. I would just start going a reward and step to the side and back, and then a reward. Good. Step to the other side so it's even on both sides, and maybe work your way good a little bit farther each time. You see what I'm doing? But take a few days before you get to being behind him, because that's a big trigger with a lot of dogs. They can stay in a down stay or a sit stay as long as you're in front of them, but if you try to walk around them, makes them pop up. So good. And you can see on my YouTube channel many hundreds of other dogs and me doing the downstay where I walk around both ways and all that kind of stuff. So you see where it leads to in a few weeks of doing it this way. One more time, good. We're gonna end this on a success. And if you just did this and try to walk around, maybe you wanna do this exercise at first in the more open area there, move it closer to the door as he gets a real downstay, because then once you're at the front door, you can start opening it. You have this gate outside, so even if he does, for some reason, dash out the door, he can't get out because the gate's closed outside. But you open it, and eventually you go outside, knock on the door, ring the doorbell. He's not going to get up because, good, you haven't released him out of his downstay yet. So that's where we get to after a few weeks. The only way he ever gets up off this mat and any downstay is when you come back next to him, you say, okay, you lead him off the mat, you have him sit, release him to be free out of a calm sit stay. Go, just like that. Never call him out of a downstay or sit stay like what they do in dog shows where they walk away, the dog's in a sit stay or downstay. That's not a solid stay. That dog is just right on the edge of breaking loose and running to the handler. It's not the kind of stay that we want. We need a much more solid stay. If you are calling them out of downstays and sit stays from a distance, they'll never have a solid stay because it creates anticipation. What's the dog doing over there? They're waiting for the signal and they're on just like ready to go. We want the kind of stay where it's like the Buddha. I don't care who calls me or what happens. I'm staying right here in a downstay until he comes back to get me in that one way that he releases me. I never get up for any other reason because really we're after the byproduct of a really solid stay. The byproduct of, he wants those treats, huh? The byproduct of a stay where you can go anywhere, go outside, knock on the door, come back, he's still there, go to any other room in the house, come back, he's still there, and you release him calmly like you saw I released him, which means he gets a little calmer every day. Don't release him like, okay, and all excited, and he jumps up and he's all excited. You'll destroy that fragile calmness we're trying to develop in him. Release him calmly like you saw me doing, and you'll see over the days and weeks that pass, he's going to get calmer and calmer. And also, you practice longer and longer stays. Like I'll work up to 5 minutes a day on the mat, and I'll just go everywhere in the house, out the door, knock on the door, close the door, all kinds, those kinds of things, and won't release him. That's a 5-minute downstay with distractions. If we're outside in a fenced yard, I can drop the leash and walk far away, go in the house and he's outside in a downstay. I mean, there's a million things you can do. You should do that in your backyard, definitely. But you'll see that it's developing the stay and then a higher and higher level of stay, and then releasing him calmly will develop a very focused, calm dog. Also, he gets tired through mental exertion. It's the best way to make a dog tired. You can do the walks and the hikes and all that kind of stuff. It's all great, but it's not going to help you with the training. If you do the training this way, you wear the dog out, then you have these skills to show for it, and then you can always take your dog for walks and hikes. It's fine, but walks and hikes are not training. So that's why I do this first and then do your other stuff for fun. That'd be great. Okay, let's go over here. Come on, buddy. I'm just going to do a sit stay. I don't know how good his stay is. Okay, but we'll set him up by stepping into him. And at the end of that circle, sit. And let's see if he stays there. So I'm going to go to the end of the leash, which is good. And I would recommend you do this. Do something, he stays there, come back next to him. Eye contact, very important, straight down. Good. Hey, right here, see my hand. Good. So I'm going to try harder stuff now. I'll try walking around him, which he can't handle, of course. And by the way, we don't say stay anymore. You don't have to. You just build stay into sit and build stay into down. The less talking you do, the better. There are very few funny noises. No shushing noises, no air horns, penny cans, squirt bottles. It's just less is more. Being calm and focused. Okay, I'm going to say sit again. That's the second time I've said it. So I'm going to show you how to get a sit stay out of him really quickly. You can desensitize him to you walking around him by doing this. I have a piece of chicken in my hand. I'm going to walk around him as I feed it to him, and that keeps him calm enough so that he can handle me walking around him. Always do both sides evenly, because if you only do one side, he's only going to be good on that one side. So I'm just going to do that 2 or 3 times around each side, and then I'll try to do it without the treat, and we'll see what kind of fast learner he is. See, treat. I make sure it lasts until I walk around the other way. I don't just let him take it. I kind of hold on to it while he tries to take it out of my fingers. By then, I'm on the other side. And he's getting very used to me walking behind him and staying in a little sit stay. And I never mention the word S-T-A-Y once. So you don't need to do that. Just say sit and teach him to see how he finished the food before I got around to him. So he makes a mistake, step into him. Sit, that using your body to turn him away from his mistake gives him a chance to do it better, and it's like a refresh for the brain. Stepping into him when he makes a mistake and doing that circle with your body, it's a refresh for the dog's brain. So I got a successful rep out of that one. At least I can go no. So see, makes a mistake, I step into him, put him back. What did I say? I said no. I still only said S-I-T one time. So I would say in a few days he might be able to do it just right here in 5 minutes. Too much too soon. But definitely do what you just saw me do, even just once around each side a day, and then before he breaks out of his sit stay, go. Let him be free, and you'll have a much more solid sit stay in just, a few days, a week. Just think how he'll be in 2 and 3 weeks if you do this every day. Step out the door to accentuate the fact that this is your boundary. Never call him through the doorway to you. You'll destroy your sit stay. He waits until you come back to get him. You say, okay. He will only goes through with you without pulling. You see how that works? Tap, tap. If you have a dog that pulls you around, stop at the threshold like this so they get used to just dead stop. Okay, and then go through from there and then sit on the outside, which he's not used to doing, and then go. He's free. Just that one little exercise can change everything. Yeah. Sit, step out, he waits, you come back, okay, calm, not pulling you through the doorway, sit there, go. You do the same way when you come in. Anybody could do it. Anybody could do it. It's a huge thing. And when you start practicing it at that doorway too. Mm-hmm. And you could walk around the house and practice at just doorways. Anything can be called a boundary. This is obviously a boundary going into the kitchen. Sure. Doorways and bedrooms, and just have this little route where you practice for 2 minutes a day. You go through your little route, have them sit. Yeah.
When we're in the kitchen, we don't want them in there. We try to establish a boundary, but
he's always on my heels. He doesn't. Even if I tell him to wait out there, he's following me.
But that's not really training, right? So you want to you can practice the mat there. Mm-hmm. Practice them down, step in there, and come back and reward him, and keep walking farther away. Yeah. Also, do the sit stay. Step in there, step back. He doesn't come through unless you come back to get him. Mm-hmm. So that helps you at all boundaries, because they're only used to going in there when you come back to get them and allow them to walk through with you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. So you just do that at every boundary.
Nice.
So you don't use the stay or wait like
you don't have
all the trainers. You just.
I think a lot of trainers now are not saying stay, but yeah, I mean, there's no need to, because too much talking keeps the dog in a heightened state of overstimulation, and there's usually hand signals and begging and all kinds of stuff over and over, stay, stay, stay. So why not just teach the dog that sit means to stay there till I come back? Like, we're teaching the dogs to wait to be released. Yeah. So they're waiting for the release command, and they'll stay as long as you depending on how much you practice, you definitely get a couple of minutes if you practice for a few weeks. You know, that's all on my YouTube channel, every dog. Down stays, sit stays.
Okay.
You just have to do it this way and be consistent, and it works. So he's out here now, right here. I don't think we're going to have a problem calling him to come. But why don't we give him something that he's going to run away with? Because that was your problem, right? He's got something
Yeah,
that
he steals something.
you want to give him.
Sock or
Find something and give it to him, and then I'll show you what I would be doing if I were you. You have the ball and you say, go! And he chases it. When you see him pick it up, come! Call it back to you. Good boy. See that? At the same moment that I open my hand, he touched my hand, I open it, everything happened at once. I grabbed the collar. So the one thing that he didn't do is bring the ball back. But he did come away from the ball. But let's try it again. Let's see if we can get him to do it. Go. Chases the ball. He grabs it. Come. Good boy. See that? Drops it. He gets paid. Right? You get the ball. Go. Grabs the ball. Come. Brings it to you. Good. I think you should do this on a short leash. If you have a cheap leash in there or something that you can cut to like 2 feet so it's not too long. Good boy. Because somebody's been chasing him and grabbing him, and so you saw how easy it was at first, and then he starts realizing, wait a minute, I don't do this, and he tried to get away from me the second time. So if you have, and I managed to grab the collar, but it's really short and small, so if you have a leash attached to it, it'll be way easier to grab that. He gets the treat, he drops the ball. But I would practice, just to get him used to it, now that he's used to coming up to me, I would practice having him getting used to you grabbing his teeth. So that he's desensitized to that. So he gives you the ball, you give him the treat, he's here waiting for you to throw it again, maybe second treat while you grab this. Good boy! And I'm going to stop there because we had no success. And he wants to do more, so I'm going to stop. Come. Good. The right hand has a treat. He has that. The left hand grabs the leash. So if he's off leash, and I know I'm going to have to create another distraction with him too. Come. The hand grabs the collar if he's off leash. So whether he's got a collar or a leash, the left hand has to grab this, or if you don't, he'll take the treat and run off again. So then all you do is you step into him and take him back in the house. Come on, buddy, let's go. A lot of dogs grab the leash or they're mouthy. The way to stop that is so that he's going to grab the leash closer to him. So if you think he's going to grab the leash, you take it here by his head. Sit. Put him into a sit. It's much less likely that he do any of that when he's doing training, because I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as I put him in work mode, he stopped doing it. Go. So if you're having problems with mouthiness, grabbing the leash, I notice he's a little bit mouthy. Alternate. That was a sit. See how you step into him? See how I'm holding the leash close to him so he can't grab it? Alternate sits and down. So this one would be down. Good. See how I lured him as I said it? Good. And just do short ones like this. So I did a short little sit stay and then released, and now I'm doing, okay, sit, short little down, and then go, release. And you can just, if you're still having the problem, just alternate sits and downs like that, and you'll see he'll calm way down within just a couple of minutes. He already kind of stopped that. So if you fight bad behavior and correct, you give it power. If you change the subject and say, forget about this, come do this with me, where you're the boss, he's taking directions from you, that stuff goes away because you're not giving it any energy, and you're creating a new relationship between you and him because you're telling him what to do. It's simple stuff. You want to try it? Try a sit stay. And do it the way that I've been doing it, which is you take the leash, hold the leash like this, coming out the back of your hand, step into him like this, face the camera and say, sit. You see how he's trying to get me to stop with kind of doing this? You ignore it and have him sit, okay? And then go. Just do that, okay? So step into him. There you go. Face the camera and sit.
Sit.
Step in front of him, step away, and then step back next to him, and I'll give you a little treat to give him. No.
No.
So just no, step into him and do that circle. There you go. Don't say a word, just put him back. Just pull up.
Sit.
Don't say sit, you already said it once. Step out here, and then take this treat, and it would be in your right hand, and straight down and reward and say good. So go, no, do what I did, which is like this, stand back next to him, good, okay? So go ahead, nope. So you have to grab the leash down here, okay? There you go. And just don't make any noises, just put him there. See, when he grabs you with his mouth and you say, you're marking behavior.
Oh, okay.
No noises, okay? So eye contact straight up and down while he's looking at you in the eyes. Straight down and good. Good. But next time, watch this. Watch me. And you have it on film. I'm standing next to him, straight down. I'm above him. Good. As he looks at me in the eyes. When you did it, he's looking that way.
So
okay?
when he grabs onto my hand?
If you say, it'll never go away.
Okay.
You do what you see me doing, which is, okay, ignoring it. See how I'm grabbing him right here? Sit, you don't react to it. And get him into training mode so that you can be the boss. And then start doing these walk around sit stays so he can have some sort of a stay. Because really dog training is all about the stay. It starts with the stay. Every dog knows what sit means. Nope. So the benefits start coming from the stay. All I have is dust, little pieces now, so it's harder to hold on to, but it worked. And then he's always waiting for you to come back next to him and go. And slow everything down as well. You don't have to rush things. So you don't want to be doing this and this, rush. Try to just be more slow and deliberate. Okay, come on, buddy. This time I'm going to do down. He only gets to treat. Good. When he's doing it, he was grabbing my hand. I ignored it. I didn't make any funny noises. I acted like it wasn't happening. I put him into a down, and I rewarded him for doing this, which means he got rewarded. He got attention for doing this, and when he was doing the inappropriate stuff, he got nothing. No no ows, no corrections. I just got him back into training mode. Good, and now I'm in control because he's getting paid for doing stuff. Puts me in a dominant place. Nope. When he starts popping up like that, you can start trying this. All you do is you kind of pivot on your right foot, left foot, apply some pressure, and we'll see if he makes the choice to go back down himself, because if he does, that would be the ideal situation. I choked up, there's a little bit more pressure there, but I'm not forcing him there. I am gonna make him stay without twisting around. See, he went back. Good, somehow, because he started to twist around, so really I just stopped him so he couldn't do that and made him go right back down. He still chose to go back himself. I didn't say a word, and he got paid for it. Good. And make sure that you always release him out of a down exactly like this. He waits till you come back next to you. Okay. Sit. So you say, okay, you step forward a step. He'll get up, have him sit. Always release him from a calm sit stay. Go, like that. because you want to keep that calmness, that little bit of calmness in him. And every day you do this, it builds and builds and builds. You don't want to release him in an exciting way with a lot of, excitement and talking and good boy and all of that, because we want him to calm down and be calm.